It's really hard to think of just one thing that would help everybody have kind of open and honest conversations about dying, but rather than trying to get people to go straight in with talking about death and dying, take it back a bit. Let's talk about things like what would we want or what wouldn't we want if and when we get poorly? What things matter to us?
It can be really emotional. It's a really difficult subject to start opening up about. I think we all have our own experiences of bereavements and grief, and I think we carry that with us.
I think over the years, death and dying has become something which is quite hidden away in our society. Just being able to talk about it and normalise it for people to know what changes they might see as someone's dying or things like that is really helpful.
Whilst it will always be sad, because you're always going to miss someone, it's okay to be sad, but it shouldn't be scary.
My personal experience of death and dying has mainly been from my dad. He ended up bedridden and then eventually sadly passed away. Seeing Dad go from what he was to the end of his life was really difficult. It put into perspective a lot for me about death and dying, because previous to that I was terrified of dying. I think there was a lot of enlightenment, I would say, surrounding my dad's death, and he made me not be scared of death.
Although I've experienced a lot of death, it's not all sadness. To work at the hospice, there's a lot of love, there's a lot of laughter, there's a lot of joy, and there's a lot of magic and beauty to be had.
If I was talking with a colleague who was recently bereaved, my immediate thing would be to predominantly listen rather than talk to them. It'd be much more about trying to understand how they are, give them a chance to, if they wanted to, share how they're feeling, possibly to talk about the person who died, or not to talk about it if they didn't want to.
Those days that are important, their birthday, Father's Day, Christmas, all those days will still affect me. To have people understand and be gentle and patient with me around those times would have been amazing.
I lost my brother and it was really, really difficult coming back to work. Obviously, working in this environment, there's a lot of triggers, so I was really anxious. And I think it's so important that people acknowledge your bereavement and allow you to talk about it.
One of the top things on my bucket list, probably very similar to a lot of other people, I want to travel and see the world. I am very much like my dad. He was very fearless and wanted to go and see all these different places. During the pandemic, we made a list of all the places that he would want to go. And I would love to visit all of those places and bring a photo of him and be like, you've made it here. Like, it gives me goosebumps thinking about it.
What do I want my funeral to be like? I don't want an ounce of black. But actually I don't really care if you look really hot in black, that's okay. But I just want people to party and remember the good times. And it's okay to be a little bit sad.
I've always considered myself quite a happy person, so I wouldn't want it to be too doom and gloom. Like lots of music, lots of dancing. So I'd like to leave a little bit up to the people that are left behind to make some of the decisions as well.
I want to be cremated. My husband wants to be buried. He believes that he's going to die first and I will wail at his grave. I'm going to go first and he'll have no one wailing and he'll just have worms in his ears.
When I'm gone, I personally want to be cremated. Got a lot of plans for my ashes. My dream destination is Fiji, and my son has said to me, who's only 11, that actually if we don't make it there when I'm alive, he's going to take me when I'm dead. Those were his words. Some of me is going into space, some of me is going to be made into jewellery, and also my son wants to put some of me in a magic 8 ball. So he said he'd do that, and then he can obviously use the magic 8 ball to ask a question, and then I can give him the advice through the magic 8 ball. So I can't do that if I'm buried.
I'd like a big party. Obviously, I'd like everybody that loves me to be there. I do expect them to cry because they love me and they're going to miss me. So of course they're going to cry. I'm amazing. I want loads of yellow roses and I want my loved ones to talk about me. But the funny stuff, you know, not just how much they're going to miss me, but the funny, stupid things I've done. So they laugh and they remember me in a good way. That is how I'd like my funeral.